Welcome into our NJCAA Network studios here at the national headquarters in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm Phil Constantino, and this is the Division II Men's Basketball Championship Selection Show. Now, this tournament field will feature 16 teams, all of them district qualifiers. All of them know they are dancing. But who will they play? How will they be seeded? We're going to find that out today. First, the bracket setup. Here's how it looks. These games will be played March 15th to 19th at the Mary Miller Center in Danville, Illinois. Again, 16 district champions will fill all of those empty spaces on the bracket. And let's meet the teams. The number 1 seed, South Suburban. The Midwest A champs are 29-0 this season. They haven't lost since the tournament of last year, and they're making their 14th all-time tournament appearance. South Suburban never won the title, never reached the title game, and as good as a chance as ever for South Suburban College. The number 2 seed, Davidson Davie. The South Atlantic A champions, they won the Region 10 tournament outright, and they are making their 3rd straight appearance. 3rd in Division II. They previously had 4 appearances in Division III, and Davidson Davie was the runner-up last year. And this year's team can play some defense, 2nd in the nation in steals per game. The number 3 seed, Sullivan County. The East A champions who won the district title game to secure their spot, 100-plus points in 9 games this season. Kareem Welch, 21 points per game. That's 10th in the nation. Their 3rd all-time appearance in this tournament in Division II. The number 4 seed, Des Moines area. DMAC, the North Central champions and the defending national champion. 7th all-time tournament appearance, 3rd in a row, and DMAC can defend. 37% on average allowed the opponent field goal percentage, the 2nd best mark in the country. Here are the top 4 seeds in the bracket. Number 1, South Suburban. Number 2, Davidson Davie. Number 3, Sullivan County. And number 4, Des Moines area. All 4 the respective highest ranked seed in their quadrant. Our guest is Coach Pigotti. He is the head coach of South Suburban, the number 1 seed in this tournament, the Midwest A champions, 29-0 on the season. John, welcome. Congratulations. First, I want to talk about you. You've been at South Suburban for a while, 16 years. Now 12 tournament
16
appearances.
Years. Yeah, Phil, 16 years, you figure it out. You add 7 dog years to it because that's what junior college basketball is. We've been here a long time, about 120-some years, I would think. So,
12 tournament appearances, 12 region championships. You've won 84% of your games, 459 and 85. What's the secret sauce, Coach Pigotti?
players, because I can shoot it, but I can't guard anybody, and I'm sure not going to try. So, but we've had really good players here. We've had, back-to-back national players of the year in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
We've had 4 total. We've had 14 or 15 All-Americans. We've had 12 first-team All-Americans. So we've had really good players here, and been blessed to be able to recruit them and to have guys be able to use this as their stepping ground to move on to a 4-year school.
Last year, you were the number 3 seed. You were upset in the first round of the tournament by Henry Ford. You haven't lost since. What did that do to set the tone for the program?
Well, we actually lost in the 8th place game or 7th place game of the national tournament, but we haven't lost this year. But, we got a brand new team. So really, last year's team didn't really affect anybody because we've got 13 players on the team, and all 13 guys are new. We went the transfer portal, quote unquote, route with pretty much, we've got 11 out of the 13 players have transferred from either a junior college or a 4-year school to come here. So we went to transfer portal ourselves to build this team this year.
Let's talk about your style. 92 points per game, that's number 5 in the country. 59 points per game allowed, that's number 1 in the country. So clearly you like to play fast. Clearly it's a high possession style. And yet you still have the best scoring defense in the country. What kind of style, or how would you describe your style as a team?
Well, our style is we try to get the ball in the proper scoring positions for our scores that we have. And then defensively, we're very versatile in regards to how we play. So we can, switch a lot, and we can do a lot of different things defensively, and do a lot. Our guys do a great job with scouting report as well. And because we're so versatile with the different players that we can have that can guard multiple positions, that's been really effective for us defensively.
Your 3 stars. DeMarco Minor leads you 20 points per game. Cameron Donatland, 19 points per game. DeMonte Taylor, 17 points per game. I don't recall many college basketball teams at any level that have 3 scorers that average 17 points per game or more. I mean, you've been doing this for 16 years. You tell me, have you ever had a team like that?
No, and that's been our secret to our success this year is we've had a big 3. And, the NBA is big in that now, right? Get a big 3 players to be able to play. And so we've got the big 3. And then we have a really good shooter that sort of plays his role in Mesamachi Netabum, who was another transfer. And so he can make some shots too. But the nice thing about those 3 is if one has a bad game, the other 2 pick them up. I'm still waiting in 29 games. I'm still waiting for all 3 to have really good games together. It'd be a nice problem to have once we get down to Danville. But that's the nice thing about the big 3 is if you have 1 or even 2 that have an off night, if the other one plays real well, you have a chance to win the game.
So it seems to me like you feel you haven't put together your best game yet.
No, and actually we are, I think we're getting worse because in the regional play, we had a first round bye, and then we had everything we could handle in the semifinal game against Illinois Valley. And then a guy from Wabansie missed a shot at the buzzer in our championship game. And we still, I think, can put together a lot better. We can be a lot better. And hopefully this week we could try to improve on things to take that down with us when we go down next week.
You realize that's a scary proposition for the other 15 head coaches watching this interview, that South Suburban with a coach that's done well, that's got such tradition and undefeated could be better.
Yeah, but we could be better. But if you look at the field, I mean, the 2 teams that played in the national championship tournament last year are back in the game. So, they're back in the tournament. So those are the 2 guys I'm scared about. Besides everybody else, I'll be scared of whoever we play. I'll have nightmares for him on a week in our first round game. So, but all 16 teams, Phil, are great teams. I mean, if you think about it, there's 131 Division II teams, and 115 of them didn't make it. So being one of the 16 teams, I know this is our 12th time in 16 years. I don't take that for granted because it's not very easy. We are also Division II JUCO, NJCAA. They need to change this as well, and we'll hopefully have some more discussions on it. We are the only division that does not have at-large bids to go to the national tournament. So everybody that has won and got to this tournament had to play do or die situations and not just sort of get in, on an at-large basis. So everybody would be great down there next week.
That is a topic of discussion. Do you like that format of no at-larges, or would you like to see the at-larges?
No, I think it got to have at-large bids. A couple of them, and they got to build another hotel in Danville to do that. I'm sure the Danville area the convention center in the Danville area would be very happy for that. But I really think they need to have a couple, because it would have been a shame if ourselves or if Davison Davy or D-Mac or even Sullivan, guys that have been up in the top 5 all year. I'm just using a couple examples, so don't make the other guys get mad at me in the tournament. But, those guys that got beat, they all deserve to get in there. They've had a great year. And so I just think at-large bids are something that they need to look into a lot more serious than what they maybe have in the past.
John, at the beginning of the interview, you said add 7 because of dog years. That's what roster turnover does to you in junior college basketball. But as we talk, I could see why you still do it. I could still see why you get after it every day. You got the
Well,
energy.
we got a passion too. We got energy, and even though I'm 58 years old, my players say sometimes I act like I'm 22. So, but I said that's fine. I can shoot, but I sure can't. I won't guard you. I definitely won't do that. I don't want to get hurt.
John, chasing an undefeated national championship. Your team, South Suburban, is the #1 team in this tournament field. Congratulations on the success and all the best of luck at the national tournament.
Well, thanks, Phil. We'll take all the luck we can get. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Seeds 5 through 16. They will be revealed when we come back. That's coming up next. Stay with us. It's the D2 Men's Basketball Selection Show on the NJCAA Network.
Over 30 majors in 4 divisions.
Nursing, education, criminal justice,
exercise science.
This is one of the very few schools to honor leadership with scholarship.
Our students go out into the world with confidence.
I know who I am.
Pfeiffer has it all. The only thing that's missing is you.
We continue from our NJCAA Network studios. This is the D2 Men's Basketball Championship Selection Show. We've met the top 4 seeds in this field of 16, and here they are again. The #1 seed is South Suburban, #2, Davidson-Davie, #3, Sullivan County, #4, DMAC, Des Moines area. Let's meet the remaining 12 teams in this tournament, starting with the 16 seed, who will take on South Suburban, and that is Florida Gateway, making its first all-time tournament appearance as the South Atlantic B champions. They beat Fayetteville Tech, the losers of the Region 10 title game, to get here. Florida Gateway versus South Suburban in the first round. The #8 seed is Lakeland, who ended the year on a 7-game winning streak. Lakeland, the Great Lakes C champions, they are in this tournament for the 6th time and the 3rd time in the last 4 years. The #9 seed is Allen, the Plains champions. They ended the season hot as well, winners of 8 in a row, and Allen is in the tournament for the very first time. Lakeland versus Allen in the 8-9 matchup. The #4 seed Des Moines area will take on the #13 seed Parkland. Central champions, making their 9th tournament appearance. They won the very first Division II national championship back in 1986, but they haven't played in the final since 1988. Parkland versus Des Moines area in the first round. The #5 seed Milwaukee area. They were the #1 seed back in the 2020 tournament that ultimately was not played. They've ended this year on a 6-game winning streak, and they have made their 3rd all-time appearance in Division II. And they will take on the #12 seed Scottsdale, making its first appearance. The West champions, and they like to run up and down the floor. 91 points per game on average this season, #13 in the country for Scottsdale. 5-12 matchup, Milwaukee area and Scottsdale. Davidson-Davie, the #2 seed, met them earlier. They get the #15 seed, Muskegon, the Great Lakes A champions. 3rd tournament appearance. 4 guys average double figures. They spread it around well, and Isaac Anderson is #2 in the country, 12 rebounds per game. That's the 2-15 matchup. Henry Ford is the #7 seed. The Great Lakes B champions, 11 three-pointers per game on average for Henry Ford. That's the 3rd best mark in the country. And Henry Ford will take on Niagara County, the East B champions. They lost their district title game, but That's one of those situations in which the East sends the runner-up as the B representative. So Niagara County makes its third all-time tournament appearance. To the final quadrant. Dakota County Tech is the number 14 seed and will take on Sullivan County. The North champions, making their sixth all-time tournament appearance, all of them in the last 7 years. In that stretch, they only missed the tournament last year. Sullivan County versus Dakota County Tech. The number 6 seed, Cecil, the Mid-Atlantic champions, making their 12th tournament appearance. The number 2 rebounding team in the country, 48 rebounds per game, with a 26-2 record. And SAU Tech fills out our bracket as the number 11 seed. The Central Plains champions making back-to-back appearances, their only 2 appearances in the program's history. They've only been an NJCAA member since 2018. SAU Tech, the number 11 seed. So here is the whole bracket. First round games will be played on March 15th and 16th. The quarterfinal games, March 16th and 17th. Semifinals on Friday the 18th. And the championship game is on Saturday, March 19th, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. All of these games you can watch live right here on the NJCAA Network. There's your bracket. We'll step aside for a quick break. But coming up next, we will hear from Chris DePue. He is the committee chair for D2 men's basketball. That next. Stay with us on the NJCAA Network.
The landscape of sports is changing. AI is the next evolution. We're bringing it to fields and gyms everywhere with Huddle Focus. Just mount it, set it, and forget it. Multiple lenses, AI player tracking, automatic recording, or record on the fly with the Focus app. Instant uploads and flexible live streaming options. AI is changing sports. Use it to your advantage. Visit huddle.com/focus today.
We are now glad to be joined by the committee chair of the Division II Men's Basketball Committee. His name is Chris DePue. He is the athletic director at Sullivan County and formerly the men's basketball coach. Chris, welcome. Your second year chairing the Division II Committee. You used to be the Division III representative. Let's start right at the top. The number 1 seed, South Suburban. Unbeaten this year. They have not lost since the tournament last year. Was there any debate about South Suburban earning the number 1 seed?
No, not at all. They were undefeated year long. They took care of the business they needed to all year long. Steve does a great job with that program. They're hot at the right time, and they haven't lost all year, as you heard. They were the unanimous number 1 pick across the board of the committee.
How quickly was that debate for unanimous?
That was probably the easiest thing we did the entire meeting, to be quite honest. They did everything the right way. They took care of the business they needed to, and being undefeated and ready for the tournament with a lot of tournament experience, we knew that Coach Pigotti's team would be the number 1 seed.
Okay, then the toughest decision that you had to make on the call, the thing that led to the most debate.
Yep. We spent most of our time throughout the course of the last 48 hours on seeds 3 through 6. They were the most difficult to get to. We knew the 4 teams that we wanted in there. We spent a lot of time debating who should be where, looked at a lot of matchups, and ultimately we landed obviously with Sullivan at the 3, Des Moines area at the 4, Milwaukee Tech at the 5, Cecil at the 6. All 4 of those teams we are very confident would have the ability to win the national championship. All 4 extremely solid teams. Unfortunately, we're in a country where it's difficult to get those teams to play each other depending on where they are in the country. So we have to weigh a lot on what common opponents might be there and what strength of schedules are there. So that was the most time we spent, the 3 through 6. We spent an enormous amount of time getting to that point, but we think we got it right.
I have to ask, the debate that you claim is the toughest, that spent the most amount of time of the call, your school, Sullivan County, where you're the athletic director, former men's basketball coach, came out on the top of that debate in the number 3 seed. Do you participate in any discussions about Sullivan County, or do you recuse yourself?
I recuse myself. That's one of the the given clauses of that whole thing. Anybody who has somebody who has tied to a program, I was on there to share my information, and I sit back and I listen. And at the end of the day, the rest of the committee makes that. I had no part of that conversation.
Okay. Why hasn't Division II gone to the at-large model? The other divisions, as of this year, both men's and women's, have adopted at-large selections in the tournament field. Is there a reason why Division II has not yet made that leap?
So that's been a long-standing conversation for about the last year. As you may know, the women's Division II program is taking a look. Division II division is taking a look at expanding their tournament to an at-large format. We're going to spend a lot of time on that. We already have. We're not sure where we're going to land. We really like the way the makeup and setup of the tournament now. Obviously, the new declaration period is going to bring in a large number of new teams. We're going to have to reevaluate where those teams land and decide if it's time to either restructure the districts to add a large concept or to expand the tournament and go to an at-large concept through that. That's all part of a discussion that's been a never-ending conversation for the last year, and will continue as we get into the April meetings in Birmingham.
It's my understanding that the committee has the power to make that decision, to change the format. What is it that is preventing you the most from changing the format to allow at-large selections? Because from the outside looking in, for most people, it does look like it adds more excitement to the end of the regular season, adds more excitement to our selection show, but also provides that opportunity for more student athletes to compete at the highest level potentially. So what's the number one thing that's holding you guys back from that?
So, at the end of the day, the conversation has been that we're really happy with the 16-team format. The folks in Danville have been really hospitable to us over the year. They do such a tremendous job out there. We're not quite sure it's warranted yet. There are a number of teams coming in right now. About 1 out of every 10 teams in the country qualify for the national tournament. So we'd have to have a pretty good indicator of why we would need to shorten that. If we went to a 24-team tournament per se, that's about 1 out of every 7 teams. And I'm not quite sure we're ready to be at that point yet. But again, with the new declaration period, there are some new teams coming in, mostly in the southern area of the country. And we're going to really evaluate that and decide if it's time for us to make that leap.
First round matchup that is the most enticing for you, given that maybe they didn't compete during the regular season. As you mentioned before, a lot of these teams do not travel out of region and play that many games between regions. So is there one that stands out to you that could be a great matchup for the tournament?
Yeah, I think that we spend a lot of time in the conversation about that. Once we get it seeded, then we kind of talk about the matchups of where that's going to land. And obviously the 8-9 and the 7-10 matchups, those are the teams that we think are the most closely related. So, the Lakeland Allen County game, as well as the Henry Ford Niagara game. Henry Ford's playing tremendously well right now. Niagara is playing at a high level as well. They play such a tough schedule across the board. And we're really looking forward to those 2 matchups in the first round. That's why you set it up that way, to try to get the best matchups you can. And we're excited about where we are in the tournament, and just really thankful that we're kind of back to normal. And we had 16 qualifiers from across the country this year.
Chris, an insightful discussion. A pleasure to have you on the selection show once again this year. Thank you for the time, and all the best of luck with the tournament in Danville. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We truly appreciate it.
Here's one final check of the bracket. The field of 16 in D2 men's 2-year basketball. All of these games will be played March 15th to 19th at the Mary Miller Center in Danville, Illinois. The number 1 seed, South Suburban, who is trying to become an unbeaten national champion. Again, South Suburban has never won the championship, and they lost last year as the number 3 seed. They lost in the first round to 14 seed Henry Ford. So South Suburban looks to resurrect its fortunes. The top 4 seeds, Davidson Davie the 2, Sullivan County the 3, Des Moines area, the defending champion, is the 4. All of these games, you can watch them on the NJCAA network. That does it for our selection show. A thank you to our entire production team. A thank you to our guests, and good luck to all of those participants. This has been the Division II Men's Basketball Championship Selection Show on the NJCAA Network.